There's a light on in the kitchen and a cold beer in the fridge. One light over the front door shining on the welcome mat. The stars are bright, they look close enough to touch. The fireflies are out tonight, so let them light the way. 'Cause there's a house, a country house, and when I find it, that's where I'll stay. There's a fresh cut rose flower sitting on the windowsill, a warm bed and an old quilt that she made herself. It's a place where you can slow down and let go of everything. It's been calling me forever, and I'm not that far away from that house, that country house. And when I find it, that's where I'll stay. That's where I'll stay. When I find it, that's where I'll stay. When I find it, that's where I'll stay. When I find it, that's where I'll stay. There's a house, and when I find it, that's where I'll stay.
Mud on my boots, weight on my chest. Ain't no preacher gonna clean up this mess. I've walked too far down a crooked line with nothing but names and a bit of spine. Lines on my face, stories I've worn. Truth ain't gentle, truth ain't warm. I've kept a list I never forgave, and I won't go soft into that grave. I'm dying with a grudge and I won't pretend. Carry this fire all the way to the end. Ain't no bright sky, ain't no dove, just me and the silence I never loved. So tie up the reins and tighten the judge. I ain't dying free, I'm dying with a grudge. She walked away with a smile and a plan. He took what he could with a trembling hand. The law stood still while the truth got spun, and I stayed mean while the world moved on. Gave my best to the wrong set of roads. Wore out my hope, wore out my soul. Now my hands are steady, my heart don't bend. This ain't redemption, this is the end. I'm dying with a grudge and I won't pretend. Carried this fire all the way to the end. Ain't no bright sky, ain't no dove, just me and the silence I never loved. So my stone, just carving truth. He stood alone, but not for pride and not for fame. Every name I remembered I kept the same. Yeah, I'm dying with a grudge and it's carved in steel. All the things they took, all the things I feel. Ain't asking for pardon, ain't singing no hymn. Just a cold wind blowing where it's always been. So call it what you want, but I won't budge. I ain't dying quiet, I'm dying with a grudge. You can lay me low, but don't dress as sweet. Some stories don't beg, some just repeat.
Iki Kauno taip? Iki Kauno taip varysit?